Thank you so much. Great afternoon to you all. I want to speak a little bit about space. We need more space. I want to speak also about heroes and dreams, because we speak about startups. And I brought you my first hero when I was 9 years old. And my first hero was 3 centimeters high and blue. It was a Lego astronaut. So which brings me to the question to all of the audience, also to the outside, who was keen to become an astronaut when they was a child? So one, I said, thank you, perfect, thank you so much. Yeah, we didn't discuss before. And I remember that was 78, and that was pretty cool. They had a moon buggy, they had small rocket, walking robots, and so on. So my dream as a child, no clue that I go working to ESA later on, was really space travel. Later was Star Wars. You remember Star Wars movies, and there was interstellar travelers, Wookiees, beaming, tracking. And later, when I grown up, I felt a little bit cheated, because instead of Star Wars and Star Trek, what we got was Facebook, Twitter. Anyhow, today I'm working for the European Space Agency, and we see all the flags there. These are my member states, and my office supports this year around 180 startup companies which using space technology, space systems, hardware, navigation, Earth observation, and I bring a little bit what our community is doing and where we believe mobility will go to. And to the question also about of all the people which were not raising their hands becoming astronauts here, this is our Milky System, and what you see left and behind are not stars, these are galaxies. 100,000 light years in diameter, and what you see is about 200 billion stars. And this is us here, Earth. So all of the people which have not raised their hand, we're not becoming keen to become astronauts, I have a bad news for you, or good news, you're all astronauts on the spaceship called Earth. And the bad thing is you cannot decide where the travel goes to. But the good thing is, what you can decide what our spaceship is doing, how it behaves, how it will change. And this is also what we do in space. We look down to Mother Earth and measure it, what our planet is doing. Because we may work on plan B, which is Mars, but we believe protecting plan A is much better. And with our fleet of satellites, we give really a good view what's going on Earth, what is changing, what is not. So it's a camera with a very high stative looking down, and the good thing is you cannot cheat. But also, working for space agencies, we're building rockets. Yeah, has somebody built a rocket yet? I have a nice startup company in Spain, PLD. They just built a reusable rocket. It's a startup building a rocket, and they asked me to coach them. And I said, sure, and I had a meeting with investors, and they all looked at me and said, come on, why looking at me? Yeah, so you all would be keen to have a rocket company in your portfolio. And rocket engineering is really tough, because 3% of the rocket is the payload, the rest is rocket. So you have to be a good engineer, otherwise this rocket is not flying. Ariane rocket on the one side, and the Soyuz rocket, which brought Alexander Gerst and Tim Peake to the space station, has the same power of 10 nuclear power plants. One rocket, the smaller one. Okay, only for 3.5 minutes, but nevertheless. And we also in electric mobility since 60 years. Okay, we built only one car, but it was working really far away. And we're also in autonomous flying, that's the ATV. And trust me, that's pretty tough. Because when you are entering, or you want to dock to the space station, and if you increase power, you go up. If you decrease power, you go down. And docking with a speed of 28,000 kilometers per hour is not easy. So also this we approved. And when the ATV is docking the space station, it gives the power to the space station, and when by detaching, it moves all the power. So managing the grid, we also managed. And we also produce in flying energy, okay, not much, 120 kilowatts on the space station. And the space station is pretty big, 110 by 110 meters by 30 meters, about 2 football fields. And about mobility, it has about 110,000 roundabouts, every 90 minutes around in Earth. That means we have on our mileage 4,600 million kilometers. Show me your BMW can manage that. So we're pretty good in this, and the space station is pretty cool. It has a brighter part, this American part, a more darker part, is the Russian part, not just kidding. Now, also the people working peaceful together, and we do a lot of recycling there. Energy, air, okay, water also. You can, ideally, where the water comes from, you recycle, So our astronauts drink their own pee. correctly, they drink the pee of everybody. Okay, anyhow. Nevertheless, they have fun. You see Alexander Gerst laughing going out of the space station, which is a pretty tough thing. And we also have space girls. Samantha Cristoforetti. Any Star Trek fans here? Okay, these are not official uniform yet, yeah, but we're working on it. And also we become commercial. You see the Dragonfly from SpaceX, the commercial cargo vehicle providing the space station. And we navigate Europe. And this is the question that people say, why we need our own navigation system? And we speak about mobility, we speak about trust. Which system do you believe will be manipulated for the political commercial interest of the country? The Russians, the Chinese, or thank you, Mr. Trump, the American? Or the European? I make the joke, even when the Europeans want to manipulate the system, until they have agreed that they manipulate it. No, just kidding. Galileo is the only system you can trust. And the last tranche for Galileo was 2.3 billion. Sorry, what you get for 2.3 billion? A Berlin airport which does not work. So I think it's a very good investment in terms of high tech. So technology is not a problem, but there are certain things changing. Which line is longer? They're all the same? No, I changed it yesterday. We're falling into traps. And Eddie Obig is a professor from the UK, said the business model has changed 15 years ago, midnight, and we all were sleeping. And that is true. When I look to my branch, which really has changed, this is space today. It's a billion industry. It was a startup company in the 80s, SES, which built a commercial satellite, and the people were laughing. And the guy who built the antenna, when you build the antenna, you say, well, you broadcast. In 88, the guy said, you know what? Europe does not stop in Berlin. We make the antenna a little bit bigger. Pure antenna. 88, and then the wall turned down. And Astra, as a startup company, was the only carrier bringing satellite TV to the rest of Europe. Today, Astra is the world's biggest satellite company with 45 satellites covering 99% population of the Earth. 1.8 million revenue, 1,600 people. Startup company. And also space is changing, and Alan is doing that awesome. He's reusing the rocket engines, and he gets money for cargo. In our industry, you were buying the rocket. It's the same when you send a postcard and you buy the postman. You don't do that, huh? Hopefully you don't do that. So this is the change of the business model also in the space industry. And some of the people have maybe seen that. There should be a movie, but now it's maybe not running, doesn't matter. Less power, put the power down. You saw the Tesla going to the sun? You have seen that maybe? But most of the people, what they have not seen is this part of the movie. And this is real. First is animation. You have two Falcon 9, once connected, they turn around, re-entering Earth. We speak about 33-meter rockets. Yeah? There's not a small thing. You see one thruster going on, and this was in April this year. The mass, sorry, it's not 33, it's 70 meters. And then it goes down. You see the stability parts going down, and the land simultaneously in Cape Canaveral. And this is a big rocket. Who has seen that? Everybody has seen the Tesla, you see? This is space today. It's not science fiction. That's a standard what you can do if you use the right technology. And then you have companies like Amazon investing into ground stations, and they will kill the business model also from other companies because they make ground stations for free, or not for free, pay per minute and you use their cloud. So this is what space will do. It's only about big data. Our Earth observation satellite fleet only generates 14 terabytes of data per day. There's only a small fleet of satellites. And we're looking, and we're back to energy. What you have, we can control how many ships are out on the ocean, how many crude oil is there, and I can tell you how many ships are in front of Rotterdam. Based on that, we tell you how much we have going on the market and the exchange. But when you spoke about energy and other things, this is what you have discussing. You know, this is how I put my energy bill. Industry 3.1 rather. And when we have startup companies which was looking to that, that was Nachbarstrom. they taking originally the idea that they said we want to sell power with our neighbors, but it's that's not working. So deregulation is really an issue. When we're looking to the future, the laws has to be changing. And this is the same when we speak about the future of mobility. So we will have new legislations. So the sign will be different speed because depends on the traffic. So we really have to think about what we can do for deregulation. Because the law and the basic principles we have for mobility will not work. And another thing is where you need space is coverage. This is the map of GSM. You see a lot of white spots, do you? Do you want to have an autonomous car or self-flying drone or ship or whatever where in the white spots? Not so good. You only have to drive from Salzburg to Munich over across the border, and then you have for 10 minutes no signal because Deutsche Telekom and Austria Telekom cannot agree who is the owner of the signal. Space will solve this. So we will be solving the 5G white spots worldwide with constellations of hundreds and thousands of satellites in lower orbit. This is at the moment going on. That's OneWeb. Facebook is working on it, and other companies. And also when you're looking to the technology you need for the future of mobility, we have worked on that 20 years ago. Hydro cells, fuel cells. This is the technology which was developed in the 18th century, and 1960, the space program was using and pushing the usage of fuel cells in other direction. And battery, sorry to say that, is a great thing, but there will be no trucks going from Berlin to Istanbul with a battery. So we will work to have on the technology. So on the technology, we had the telecommunication, we had the Earth observation, and maybe also about the location and sharing. And Flink is a company, it's not true, it's not one of 280 companies we have supported. The 7 is missing, we are reaching at the moment 780 startup companies. And a good example when we're looking to the future of mobility is, who owns the e-bike? Okay, you're not old enough, okay. I'm growing up in a spa. So when I go with my normal bike, I'm overtaken by old ladies with 40 kilometers per hour by an e-bike. And e-bike is a good example because it made entire generation mobile again. When you see how many e-bikes are sold, it's a high price point, and it's normally a generation which is 60 above. I'm not 60 above, but I thought I'm already preparing for that. And this is a good example how the future will be. The future will be slightly different. And the future will be more in the mobility on the cargo where we have a change. Because 76% of the cargo goes via truck, and 50% of the cost is the driver. So we see first automotive driving by the trucks. And I think we're on the panel with Rolls-Royce. This is where Rolls-Royce is working on it. There, even more, there is about, I think, 50% of costs are the people, and it's much easier to build the cargo, the ship around the cargo than the ship around the humans. So the future will be more the autonomous shipping, and you have only 2 basic laws to change, not many. And when we go to the air, this is one of the startup companies where also Freigeist is supporting, and we supported these gentlemen when there were 4 young students coming from Munich. And that was 2 years ago in April in Oberpfaffenhofen. And what you see is, maybe you heard about Lilium? Very good. Thank you, I don't have to show it. For us, when they were coming to the incubation center, there were 4 great students. And there was, of course, a discussion. Frank, why we should support them? They want to make competition with Airbus. And our argumentation was says, if we do not support them, who else does? And this is one of the biggest problems what we have, is our survival rate. Our survival rate in our incubation centers about 86%. And I think that's too high. We have to go lower. We have to allow more risk. We have to de-risk before industry and VCs can imagine and taking over. So this is something which run very well, and I think they raised over 103 million, and we're very proud to have them and supported and being maybe the uncle on that. Going back about heroes, as my son Hannes, when he was getting the first time on the red slope when he was 5 years old. And he was falling down, standing up. Who has kids? Okay. Yeah, you know these games, yeah, your bicycle. But this was the first time skiing. Falling down, standing up, falling down, standing up. And you see at the end of the day, he's still smiling, because he gives a shit. He has no fear and little respect. And this is the reason why we work with startup companies, because they can take the risk. And when we look into future, we think also long term. This is what we in ASA are working on at the moment. Building robots, which we send on a comet, and these robots, like termites, make out of this asteroid a generation spaceship. And after 5 generations, you have a spaceship. Thinking long term, and thinking a little bit crazy and wider. That might be the future of interstellar travel. And when we spoke about heroes, these are the heroes of my kids. Pokemon Go. And this is also space application because you have the location-based services. My heroes are my kids. And this was Johannes when he was 1 year old, where he's dismantling my toolbox. And this is the only thing of my entire presentation you have to remember. Stay curious, like you were a kid, or like your kids are, or my kids, or whatever. Have this curiosity, because that drives innovation, that drives exploration. And sometimes we need this to have more joy, more have fun, and seeing all the future. And maybe then the business of Lufthansa might look slightly different than it looks today. Thank you very much.